Good old people, we are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. 1 year to the day since Bilbao, since that magical night. Europa League champions. We're not Europa League champions anymore.
Well, they can never take it away from us.
They can't take it away from us, but we can't be going around singing Champions of Europe anymore. That tag at this moment in time belongs to Aston Villa, so congratulations to Aston Villa for going and do the business yesterday. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe that's a year ago now.
I know.
Bilbao.
So much has happened. We really thought that was like a real moment for us, and instead it was kind of it was a moment, but
that's all it was.
Wasn't really a moment for the. It was more a moment for the fans rather than the club in a weird way.
Yeah.
When you think about it, because for the club didn't really benefit from it much. You know, obviously we got a trophy, but
they did benefit from it. They got Champions League revenue this season.
They did, but I'm saying they didn't kick on from it, did they? They didn't use that trophy in any way, in a shape or form, in a positive way. And a year later, we're now having to stay up on the final day. I think the fans, obviously, we loved that moment and we always look back fondly on that moment, but the club just never took advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, that game a year ago today was like the biggest game in a very long time since the Champions League final. Fast forward a year to the present day, we look forward to a relegation clash last day of the season to hope to get a draw to stay up. It's just like...
What's the bigger game?
Well, I think this weekend. I really believe that. And it's just like, if I would have told you on the final whistle in Bilbao that this will be where we're at in a year's time, you would have been like, what are you on about? Mm-hmm. But this is where we're at.
And maybe I shouldn't have been, because obviously we finished 17th last year, but 100% I would have believed we're going to kick on next season. No chance we were going to be worse than last season. And here we are a year later, and feels like a world away, that Bilbao a year ago.
I know. But Roberto De Zerbi has personally requested that fan groups organise a coach meet ahead of Sunday's final league match of the season. The Everton game is Spurs' biggest domestic game in the club's recent history.
Yeah, I can probably get on board with that. I mean, I don't like the fact that that's the case, but the reality is if we go down, how catastrophic that would be. I mean, obviously your mind goes back to beating Arsenal to top four back in 2022,
or much bigger than that.
Or Peter Crouch against Man City. We've never really, in terms of winning the league, like challenging, we never really had an opportunity, had a defining game. So, yeah, I mean, I have to say, it's a true statement. And I think the criticism of the Forest one was more, did it put added weight on the players, you know, added pressure? I don't think it really add any more pressure than there's already on this game on Sunday.
Yeah, the thing is about this game, this is literally it. This is do or die. Like the Nottingham Forest game, win, lose or draw, there were still many games to play. Now, this is the last game of the season. We need the result. We need the support. We need the players to show up. That's it. Mm-hmm. If we don't, then there's a chance that we go down on the last day of the season. Look, there is a chance that we lose the game and we still stay up. But we can't take that to chance, can we?
No.
We need to get the point that we desperately need to stay in this division. So I welcomed it for the Nottingham Forest game. I love stuff like that, and I love fans coming together and providing an atmosphere. And I welcome it again today. And I think it's important that is personally requested by Roberto De Zerbi, because nobody can say anything. You know, if it's requested by De Zerbi, then that's what we should do.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea. I think the players need to feel that support, and hopefully the fans turn up with their numbers again. I understand there's been a bit of mixed reaction to this, only because of what happened last time, and we ended up getting beat 3-0 and ended up being, you know, the butt of a joke on the end of that day. But at the end of the day, we need everyone to show up for this one. And if that's what De Zerbi thinks will get the players up for it, I think we should do it.
Yeah, exactly. But there has been a statement from Change for Tottenham. This actually came yesterday before this De Zerbi news came out. There are plans in place this weekend for the game against Everton. So the statement reads that this Sunday for 90 minutes, we need to get behind the team. Nothing else matters. We need points, and the players need every one of us behind them for one last time this season. When the final whistle blows, regardless of the result, we need to stand up to the board for putting us in this perilous position. This isn't just a one-off season. This is 2 disastrous league finishes back-to-back, which has led to our Premier League status being decided on the final day of the campaign. Thomas Frank should never have been should have been sacked months before. Igor Tudor should never have been appointed, which resulted in our worst losing run in the club's history. We were desperate in January for new signings. Every fan could see it, and the board did nothing. Their excuse, Johan Lange told us, remain disciplined and avoid stress purchases. January was a missed opportunity to safeguard the Premier League future of this club, an error with potentially fatal consequences. Levy is gone and nothing has changed, as it is never one man. It is ENIC and the Lewis family who own us and say nothing. Promised success, delivering failure. The decline in the last 7 years has been frightening, from challenging for major honours to the brink of relegation, with a game-changing stadium that has changed nothing. During this failure, there has been one constant: the people at the top. Through it all, you fans have been everything: the home support, the away fans across the country and Europe, and fans gathering across the globe for the club they love. So on Sunday, our banners will go up in the north, east and south stands at full time, regardless of the result. Join us to chant against the board and make your voices heard. We can't allow this to happen ever again. ENIC out, Benai out, Lang out, our club, our voice. I think that's a pretty good statement, to be fair.
I agree with every word. And I think in a weird way, Vinay and Lang and ENIC, in a very strange way, they've gotten away with a lot of the criticism because of how bad we've been. If we had just been 14th, every week would be getting protests, and every week they'd be going on. But because we're actually that bad that we're risking our Premier League survival, everyone has just been so focused on making sure that we stay up and making sure that the catastrophe doesn't happen. They've been kind of been given a let-off, haven't they, over the past few weeks and majority of the season. So I agree. I think we should never forget why we're in the situation, and they 100% should be getting it from the fans. Whatever happens on Sunday, whether we stay up or go down, they don't deserve any credit or anything for why we're in this situation. Obviously, they did appoint Zerbi, but with 7 games to go, it's a miracle that he's even gotten us a position that we only need a point. And I think 100% the fans should have their voices heard on Sunday. 100%.
I mean, every word of the statement for me is absolutely spot on. And look, I think the reality is, if you look at the back end of last season, Spurs did those protests, but then they kind of died down, didn't they, towards the end because of the Europa League run. So they got away with it in that sense. They got away with it this year because the fans have made that decision to back the team instead of above everything else. And I think that's right because of the situation we're in. We just need to support the team through it. But now it's coming to the end of the season, last game, regardless of what happens, we need to make our voices heard.
And I hope we do, but I'm worried they're going to get away with it again. I'm just worried because over the summer, obviously, if we do stay up, as we've said, we've spoken about, there is some excitement around Zerbi and what the future might hold with Tottenham team under him. And are there going to be protests in the summer if we sign a few players and all of a sudden we have a good pre-season and Zerbi looks like he's cooking something up? Are there going to be protests? I don't know. Maybe not.
And that can't happen at the end of the game. So at the end of the game,
I'm talking about. I know the end of the game. Fine. I'm just saying for next. But why? Okay, fine. One game will do it. Is that going to make a difference? Is that going to really hammer home the point? You know what I mean?
The thing is, right, if they do go and back Zerbi, then that's a sign of things moving in the right direction. I think fans will be happy with it. So we need to make our voices heard so that can potentially something does change and does happen for the better of this football club. If things are happening for the better of this football club, I'm not going to mind. But if things carry on the same way, then 100% there's going to be protests next season.
But it's hard to know, isn't it, when things are happening, where it leaves us, because obviously we know the big things, not signing a player in January, keeping Frank, but then in the summer we were all happy with the business, weren't we? And we were all happy with a lot of the signings that we made, and were probably better than what we expected. It all turned out to be horribly wrong. So it's like in the moment we might sign a player and think, okay, there's reason to believe he'll be good, and he turns out it's not the right thing, and then we're in trouble again. Or on the flip side, we might sign a player we've never heard of and think, well, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? It turns out to be great. It's just hard to know at the moment, isn't it?
Still, at the end of the transfer window, we were happy with some of the players that we brought in, but everyone was still saying we've left ourselves short. Everyone was saying that, you know, we don't have an adequate cover at left back. We don't have that passer from deep in midfield. We don't have this. We don't have that. We replaced Sonny. Sonny's left, and we haven't brought in anyone else. Like, those question marks were still there. I don't think anyone was entirely happy with the summer transfer window. Even us, we were saying it. Look, it's great. Bring in Javi, bring in Kudus, bring in this one, bring in that one. Failed attempts to bring in Morgan Gibbs-White. Failed attempts to bring in Eberechi Eze. You know, these kind of things. Plus, not bringing adequate players for the right positions that we desperately needed. So, I think, as much as we were happy with some of the players, there were still big groans about the transfer window.
It's true, but I think every club has those. Maybe not as big as ours, but apart from Arsenal, who pretty much didn't have this season like a real weak spot, everyone probably ends their window thinking who probably could have got that, probably could have got this, probably should have got that. So I'm just saying it's hard to know. It's hard to know really at the point of when these things happen, whether it's going to be good or bad for you in terms of transfers. So my point is just when the season starts, are there going to be protests again? Are we going to let our voices known, or is it just going to be this one-off protest thing tomorrow, and that'll be that?
It remains to be seen, doesn't it? We'll see what happens over the summer, and then we'll see what the reaction is like at the start of next season. I hope from the start of next season, straight from game one, we can hear protests.
Just my overall point, what I'm trying to say is they've done so much damage to us, and all they're going to get is one little thing at the end of this game, and that might be it. That's all I'm saying.
I hope not.
I agree. I'm just saying that's a possibility.
People cannot forgive these last two seasons. I know we won in Bilbao last year, but 17th and potentially 17th or 18th, you know, once again, look, if we go down, that's surely, regardless of what happens in the summer, there has to be protests every single week, no matter what. But even if we stay up, it should be the same. Like, we've literally, the future of this football club is hanging by a thread right now, and they have let that happen. So, yeah, nothing can stop. I think nothing should stop protests. Anyway, let's move on. Antonin Kinsky has turned down the chance to go to a World Cup. Apparently, he is going to have surgery as soon as the season finishes. So he has chosen to prioritise Tottenham over Czech Republic and prioritise his surgery instead of going to the World Cup.
I mean, I assume it's probably because he's not going to play at the World Cup anyway. I say that, I don't know who their number one is, and you would think someone playing for Tottenham has a good chance of being number one for Czech Republic, but I'm pretty sure he isn't their number one.
He's not, no.
So I'm assuming he's probably feeling, look, do I not have surgery, try and be fit for those World Cup on the off chance that I get my opportunity, and maybe even if I do, I might not be at my best because I'm struggling with this injury, or do I make sure I'm 100% ready for the new season? And I think he's probably making the smart choice.
Yeah, they've got keepers from Braga, PSV and Slavia Prague. Slavia Prague was the one I think that's called up ahead of Antonin Kinsky. But yeah, I don't know who their number one is, to be honest.
That's why I think if he was their number one, would he be doing this? I don't know. I doubt it.
I guess, say that with the form that he's been in, could he have even pushed his way in there?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe, someone who's been playing for Tottenham. But I guess for Czech Republic's point of view, if they've got a number one keeper and they're happy with him, they're not just going to shove Kinsky in just because he's had a few good games for Tottenham. Unless he's been doing it over the whole season. Like, a few good games isn't going to be enough just to muscle you in it unless they've got a keeper they're not happy with, then maybe. But I just reckon he's probably just looked at the situation and think, I'm not number one, I'm not going to play. So I might as well do that. It's
still, for such a young keeper, the experience to go to a World Cup like that with your national team who you have a close affinity with, I still think it's big, To go to a World Cup is that's the pinnacle. One injury to a keeper and then you're in there, you're starting at a World Cup.
Unless he's not even second choice.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know what I mean though? Yeah,
fair play to him. But I'm not saying it's a small decision. I theorising probably what happened. He probably saw he's not number one, he's not going to play. Best to be fit for the new season rather than, because if he doesn't do this surgery and he doesn't even play, then all of a sudden he's delayed this surgery, and then it can impact next season. And then all of a sudden he might not start as number one, whereas right now he potentially could start as number one for next season, and that's a better situation.
Yeah, I wonder what this surgery is, and I wonder how long he's had this sort of injury with, because he's been playing, obviously, as a number one for last, 5 games or so. He had the chance to go to Czech Republic, so that kind of says to me that maybe he can play without having the surgery, so I wonder what it is.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Do you think he starts last game season?
Yeah, I do.
Me too. In terms of World Cup call-ups, Pape Matar Sarr and Kevin Danso both been called up to the World Cup. No real surprises there, but look forward to seeing them. And finally, there is some quotes on from Luka Vuskovic, once again, saying, "I'm torn. On one hand, I'm happy because a lot of what was agreed upon with Tottenham has come to fruition in Hamburg, but I'm also sad because I really wanted to stay here. As you know, it's my wish to play for Hamburg alongside my brother Mario, but in football, you can't have everything you want. I'll be a Tottenham player again starting this summer. If Tottenham see me as part of their plans, that would also be a very good situation for me. The most important thing for me and my development is that I play regularly." So this brings up a big question, doesn't it, about he wants to be starting somewhere, clearly. He wants to be playing week in, week out.
Of course.
Can we, it's not foregone conclusion Romero goes or whatever, but there are rumours that Spurs are looking to bring in another centre-back. Like, is Luka Vuskovic going to be our starting centre-back next season?
Well, I think it's tough to say right now. I think the decision is going to be made now. It's going to be made over pre-season, a bit like last summer, where they had him in pre-season, took a look at him and said, look, he's a good player, but, we've still got Romero and Van de Ven, and he thought, I'm going to go out on loan. Now, judging by what he's saying, it sounds like a return to Hamburg is almost certainly out of the question at this point. Whether it's returning to Tottenham or going somewhere else, I think it's more likely. It seems as though he's not going to go. He says, I'm going to be a Tottenham player in the summer, but he was a Tottenham player last summer, and then he still went on loan. So it wasn't, doesn't just because he's a Tottenham player doesn't necessarily mean he is going to be in the first team and playing every week. But given how good he's been in the Bundesliga, given he's been in the team of the season, if Romero does leave, which is quite a good possibility at this point, I think he will be our number one centre-back. I think he will be starting games for us.
Van de Ven.
Yeah.
I like that. I've said it many a time. I'd love to see Vuskovic as our starting right centre-back next season. I think it'd be brilliant for us, brilliant for his development as well, to carry on starting role in the Premier League. And I think he'll take to it like a duck to water, man. I really do.
Well, you think he comes in and it becomes one of the best in the league?
I don't know if he becomes one of the best in the league straight away, but I think he performs at a very good level, yeah.
Very good level. I hope so. It's tough. Bundesliga, we've seen the gap between the Bundesliga and the Premier League. We looked at yesterday in the Europa League final. Villa completely wiped the floor with Freiburg very easily. And, those are teams at similar levels in their respective leagues. I think it will definitely take some adjustment.
He's also done very well against the likes of Bayern Munich.
Yeah, for sure. Look, he's done brilliant. There's nothing to suggest he can't play well in the Premier League. I'm just saying the Bundesliga is just, it's just because you're, in the team of the year in the Bundesliga doesn't mean necessarily you're going to be one of the better centre-backs in the Premier League. But I think for us, it doesn't really matter, to be honest, because we know what a talent we've got. And as well, the expectation level for Tottenham in general next season is quite low. So, and obviously no European football. So I think next season could be a good season to kind of throw him in there. I think when you've got, if you're throwing him in a situation where we're looking to like really kick on and like get into Champions League or whatever, obviously we all hope that's what we're challenging for next season, but that's unlikely. I don't think we're expecting it. If you throw him in a season like next season where, let's say we finish, 8th or whatever, let him make those mistakes, but have a year of development playing regularly, that's fine.
Yeah. Look, we've seen young centre-backs come from other leagues before and do really... Just look at Dean Huyson, for example. There was such big talks about Dean Huyson when Jose Mourinho had him at Roma, I think it was. He said, this guy is going to go on to be, one of the best centre-backs in the world. He went to Bournemouth. Similar kind of experiences for Vuskovic and Huyson. Maybe Huyson had one more year at the top level than him. But he came in and also took it like a duck to water. He was brilliant at that season at Bournemouth. So there are, and I'm sure there are other centre backs as well that have done it. So I think Vuskovic could do it, man. The talent that this guy has is unreal. Any challenge that he gets put in front of him, he passes with flying colours. And I think the Premier League is going to be the same. But yeah, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have spoken about today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.